party monsters in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. I'm here to make you lose your mind, 'cause I just want to see you shake that. Welcome back, everybody, to I Played a Thing Monster Party. Last time, well, there's really not much to recap. We just kind of saw how the game worked and got through the first few levels, leaving off in this spooky cave here. But before we get started, I just want to point out something that a member of the I Played a Thing Go With The Stream Discord discovered, and that is that the thing called Giant Spider by the manual and inspired Deceased Crab's name and so on, that is to say, the Sorry I'm Dead boss, is based on a Japanese toy called Torigaran, or Chicken Carcass, which is from a toy line called Gebebo Maju, or Pukey Evil Creature. Coincidentally, or perhaps not coincidentally, this toy line was put out by Bandai, which happens to be the US publisher of Monster Party. It does seem to be a one-off. Nothing else from Gebebo Maju is represented in Monster Party, but yeah, not a crab, not a spider, not a lizard. Some sort of dead chicken thing. The more you know. Let's get down to business. Bonk. 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 The falling stalactites we should be able to reflect, because most things in the game you can. Oh, no, it's treated like an enemy, so we just kill it. Okay. My memory of this game, as I've mentioned before, is a little better than most games that I haven't played in many years, in part because of its simplicity, but I don't remember everything accurately. Clearly. Nobody home. What do we got here? Nothing exciting. Okay, you should have a patrol path. We just need to find the end of it, as usual, for patrolling enemies. Not sure what the deal is with the flashing skeleton over there. I don't really remember all the quirks of this particular minor enemy. Seems like me— oh! I thought it might be projecting illusions of itself, but apparently no, it's just a teleporting version. It's actually a little more sophisticated than your average standard enemy in this game. Most of them just kind of drift around. Move it! See, because it's a minotaur. And it'll spawn surprisingly cute little cows at you, which you can reflect back. Which, if you are marked, is probably the way to go. And it has kind of a fun little mooing sound effect when it takes damage. And rather beneficially for you, its head does not do damage. You can jump right through its noggin. Only the body does contact damage. And the body does a fair amount of contact damage, so just slugging it out doesn't seem to be the best course of action. We'll stick to reflecting those cows. Of course, I could have held out for a bird pill, but I really don't know when the next one is coming, so we'll pass on that. Ugh. Taking a lot of damage here. The cows are pretty painful too, not just touching the minotaur itself. Also really rides your ass sometimes. Seems to like to throw out a cow just as you're getting over it. There we go. Took a little more of a beating than I would quite like there, but we made it. Let it get a little too close there, I think. Lucky that I was able to get the last hit in time. Oh, there was a burp pill right beyond the cowman. Oh well. In the end, we're still well over half of the rather large maximum life bar, so I'm not too concerned at this point. And also, bird, I don't know, man. That pink color palette doesn't look great on you. My legs are asleep. This is the guardian of the giant sphinx, according to the manual. It seems to be sort of a ghostly muppy kind of deal. Muppy? Ghostly mummy kind of dealy. Muppy's a cross between a mummy and a Muppet, I suppose, and I guess the sphinx does kind of look Muppet-like. But anyway, my legs are asleep. I'm not sure what to make of that. I always figured this was not the mummy, but the sphinx actually talking. You know, if you're lying there in one place for hundreds of years, then your legs are going to fall asleep. But that's just my theory. It just kind of wanders around throwing rather toilet paper-like mummy wrappings at you. And dies just as we run out of birds. Nifty. I also like that it has unique Egyptian-style background music. Nice touch. What do we have here? Umbrella monster. Doesn't look like your traditional Japanese yokai umbrella monster, the Karakasa, which is usually more of a hopping kind of thing with one eye. But perhaps it's a cousin. I'll see what the enemies here have before I try and access that door there. Sorry, Mark. I suppose, given how bat-like the umbrellas are, they could be a reference to the Maze of Gallius / La Mulana umbrella bat-killing password, but that's probably a stretch. It would be funny if it were the case, though, because that would be another deceased grab connection. Ah. Impatience in this game can do a little bit of a number on you. Taking probably a few more hits than I strictly need to just because I'm trying to keep things moving. Alright, we will beat up the cat ghost, or whatever this happens to be, before we check out that door, just in case it's got a capsule for us. Looks like I made the right call. Unless, of course, this door ends up being empty. But if that is the case, it still don't harm me none. Ah. Careless, careless, careless. And it is empty. Oh well. Oh, that's interesting. Sometimes it spawns a question mark, sometimes it doesn't. I was not aware of that wrinkle of how it worked. I am taking really, really needless hits here. Ah. Well, I still don't feel horribly endangered. Should be able to keep going without having to grind health. But I will always stop and do that off camera if the need should arise. And here we have an actual giant spider. Who will suck all our blood? I think not. I believe those X's are supposed to be like crossing strands of web. It's not very obvious, though. And here we have an example of a boss who would be quite a bit of trouble as Mark, I imagine. But who Bert makes relatively trivial. And it is our last boss for the stage. We have acquired the key. Just in time. Almost at the end. No sense in taking unnecessary damage at this point. Like that. Figured I would just go on through and take the health bump and not risk taking another hit from that last umbrella just on the off chance it had a heart in it. At any rate, we will save state. And head on into round 4. Well, looks like the Guardian of the Giant Sphinx was a bit of a foreshadow. I think it may be possible to eventually destroy this brick, but if memory serves, which, as always, is not a sure thing, it takes forever. I'd prefer to do that before taking on the Scorpion, but for that exact reason that I would probably run into it otherwise. But c'est la vie. Ah, really being careless. Not on my best game today. But that makes things a little better. Damn it. This doesn't look too reversible, so I'm guessing there's probably not a boss in here. But maybe there's a good question mark. Nope. Neat background, though. Here we have the white version of the tail-throwing gator, which I think will throw its tail just like the sewer one. Or perhaps not. I really thought that was coming. Well, makes life a little easier. Maybe a little slower, because I can't just reflect the tail back and immediately kill it, but here we have the stationary version of the Scorpion, which spews out projectiles at a rapid rate, and you want to take care of that exactly the way you would expect. We should be able to angle this up at the right angle to hit it back at the Scorpion. There we go. Oop. Can I get it? Yes! Did I get it? I wasn't watching my health meter. I'm not sure if I picked it up or if it just disappeared. And so, what have we over here? We have a samurai, who is a slowpoke. Well, he's kind of pokey. Fortunately, as tall as he looks, he's not so tall that you can't avoid damage by jumping over and semi-through him. Kinda seems like his head that doesn't do contact damage, much like the minotaur. And a bit of good news about the samurai here is that he pumps out his swords at a fairly pokey regular rate. Doesn't stop me from getting hit by them, as you can see, but he's not as randomish in his rate of fire as a lot of the bosses in this game. Ah! So, if you are Mark, slow and steady wins the race, just like the samurai himself. Except he won't be the one winning, if I have anything to say about it. Ah. But it won't be for lack of trying, given all the hits I'm taking. Interesting death animation. I'm not sure if that bit at the bottom was like flesh or a color glitch or what. Okay, would have been nice to have that before the boss fight, but I'll take it when I can get it. There's really no bad time to be Bert. Really no bad time to get health either, but there is a bad time to go the wrong direction to find the next door. Well, with any luck, we'll get another Bert pill before the next boss, but that remains to be seen. Ah. Will this guy have a heart again? Let's try and get the reflection and find out. There we go. Yes, indeed. I remembered the power-up drops in this being a little more random than they seem to be. They actually seem to be pretty consistent, if not completely so. Come on, Crocodile. That looks like no Bert for me. And we have to take on a cute kitty? Okay. Also, apparently it fits, he sits. Kitty is now angry. I do like the hit sound, the little mew. Now, you may notice that the projectiles it's firing, or spawning as the case may be, which are allegedly kittens if you believe the manual, actually look like the eponymous monsters of the Gremlins movies. And I remember reading somewhere that this was supposed to be another parody boss of the Gremlins. Whether it has a corresponding appearance in the Japanese proto of Parody World Monster Party, I do not know. When we examine that game, we will find out. Anyway, there are only a few angles that it can possibly shoot its gremlins at you. You can reflect them back pretty well, pretty consistently. Matter of fact, the very starting position you have when you start fighting the boss is a good position to reflect from. But I got knocked around a little bit and lost that position, so had to adjust, took some hits. Not too bad all in all, though. Give me your health. You know, it took me a while, but it belatedly just occurred to me. Why was the Guardian of the Giant Sphinx not in this stage? They could have put the samurai, or really anyone else in the previous stage, and then put the mummy in the level where it kind of belongs thematically. Well, Monster Party developer logic is an unpredictable thing, if in fact any logic of that sort exists at all. I was hoping it would shoot a projectile at me at just the right time, but no. Got the reflect eventually, though, and got some Bert. Perhaps just in time if this is a boss fight. No. Ah well, didn't cost much time. And if I fly up there... Face the music! Meet the punk rocker. Not particularly monster-like, aside from the fact that he has no legs. Another of those bosses that just kind of roams back and forth and shoots a lot. Getting by him without taking damage is kind of difficult. He fires pretty rapidly and isn't easy to get over without taking damage. I think you might be able to crawl under him without taking damage, but I couldn't swear to that. Kind of funny that the painted-out speaker from Audrey 2 we could stand upon, whereas the speaker we can actually see, we cannot. Also, the punk rocker gets his own music, which is kind of nice. The things Monster Party chooses to put detail into are sometimes a little strange, but any little bit of detail they want to give, I do appreciate. At any rate, the punk rocker was our final boss for the level. All we have to really do now is proceed to the finish line. But there are no enemies that are going to respawn right on top of us, so I can check in here for a question mark. And not get one. Just gotta creep that last little bit forward so I can hit one of these back. Come on now. Just made it. I don't really want to go down there. Probably take a hit trying to get back, and I don't want to deal with that. Not terribly useful in our current circumstances, having all the bosses dead and all, but as ever, there's really not a bad time to be burnt, although, come to think of it, this actually is kind of a bad time to be burnt, because the best course of action here would be to reflect a projectile back up at the scorpion. And I can't do that right now. I could try and sneak through, but I'm pretty sure I'd take a hit in the process, so I'm just gonna let my burntness expire. There we go. Gotta get the high reflect angle. Doesn't appear to be happening. There we go. This could actually be... I was thinking that might be a little hard to get through without taking many hits. Putting me below half. That was really uncoordinated. Ah well, as always, we do get a little bit back. And on to round 5. Which puts us in a rather pleasant-looking forest with a rather pleasant soundtrack. Now, Nessie here, I seem to vaguely recall taking about 1 zillion hits, but let's try anyway. Yeah, screw this. This is kind of amusing. We've got this imposing large shark fin, which belongs to a tiny, tiny shark. Maybe it's a prosthetic. Fortunately, it has a fairly standard sort of patrol pattern, so we can just wait at the edge as usual and beat up on it. We'll advance a little more just to make sure there's not a burnt pill waiting for us. Does not appear to be the case. But there's nothing here anyway. Except an actual animated background for an interior room, which we don't usually see. And some of these rocks that we can stand on. Potentially useful for future reference. Now, what do we got here? I don't remember what this splash means. It means fish bones. Water hurts. But we can stand a little bit inside the fishbone's head and deal with it safely. Oop. That looks like it was just points. Well, we'll take points. Ah, remember what I said about Bert's shots gradually getting better over the course of the game? Yeah, we now have the wave lasers. I think Nessie still takes too long to kill. Ah, watch my dance. These are the living dead, which the manual describes as zombies from Japan. Now what we have here is sort of a puzzle boss. A very basic sort of puzzle, but one that actually stymied me when I first started playing the game. First time I went through. I figured I would just have to beat them down, and that doesn't work. Every time you hit them, you send them back to the grave, but they immediately rise once again. As it turns out, that opening line isn't just boss banter. The actual way you have to win here is watch them dance. Just stand back, give them some room, let them do their thing. Next to Shrimp Attack, this is probably the most notorious boss in the game. Oh, also regarding Shrimp Attack, something that several folks in the comments pointed out is that the teleporters in the background are a reference to the fly. And we have the fly, the fry, the usual Japanese LR thing, so that's why we have fried shrimp and a fried onion ring and so on. At least that's the theory, and I think it's a very sound one. Well then, that is the end of the zombies from Japan. I hope they had a good time. Theirs was a simple dance, but a heartfelt one. Okay, Tiny Jaws doesn't want to get hit here. Well, we'll just leave him alone. This is a rather inconveniently placed Nessie. I'll try to get the timing right. And I actually will. How about that? Now, I'll bet Fishbone down there has something for me. And I don't just mean water damage. I do just mean water damage, because he's got absolutely nothing else to offer. And no one else ahead that we could potentially get a Burt pill from in the immediate. So, we will just take on Mad Javelin Man with the bat. That is his name, Mad Javelin Man, and unlike the Living Dead, you don't want to take his boss intro literally here. Catching his javelin just hurts. This is also a boss that always sticks out a little bit in my mind, because he's one of the few bosses that actually killed me outright on my first trip through the game. Hopefully that will not be repeated. As you can see, his projectiles are decently fast. And I actually don't remember my strategy, such as it is for beating him. I think what I'm going to do is just jump up and down here, and try to hit as many javelins back as I can, and hopefully get the kill before I get hurt too badly. Okay, not that much HP, but he did hurt me a fair bit. Fortunately, his question mark had some health in it, so it's not as bad as it could have been. And certainly a bit of good news is that Mad Javelin Man had the key. That was a rough jump. That door seems like kind of sucker bait. If I go through and come back out, Baby Shark will respawn on top of me. Do-do-do-do-do-do. And we don't want that. Ah, that's what I like. Come on now. There we go. Now that's a very inconveniently placed Nessie. We'll see if we can avoid the hit here. Hot damn. And there's our exit. Well, we have only just hit the half-hour mark according to my recording timer, so I think we can squeeze one more level in. Oh, but it's this level. The Haunted Mansion. And, as you can probably guess just from this first screen of it, it's a door maze. Fortunately, if memory serves, I didn't have a lot of lost time in any of my various runs through this game, so it's probably not that bad a door maze. You just have to mind the comets. Also, they're possessed giant pants, but they're not so much to worry about. Thank you, Pants. Now, if I recall correctly, this level only has a single boss. So that's a plus. We just have to find out where it lives. Okay, we're seeing new things. As long as you keep seeing new things, you're probably on the right track in this level. Shall we go to the side? We'll go to the side. Okay, we're now at the bottom of this, which is a new path, and that's a good sign. Now, first door or second door? Let's try the second. Oh wait, no, we've gotten the circle here. This looks promising, though. A little hard not to get hit by the comets there. Here we go. Which one? This is referred to in the manual, I believe, as Chameleon Man. And once this kicks off, Chameleon Man, we will see a number of faces, and only one of them is actually susceptible to damage. If I recall correctly, which, again, we have to disclaim that, it is always the one that starts in the lower right that is the one you can hurt. It would be good to have Bert here, but I don't think it's strictly necessary. Yep, lower right. This is strictly a contact damage boss, with a somewhat unpredictable movement pattern. So we will just have to do our best to avoid damage to the best of our ability. Lost track of the correct head for a moment there. And there's our key, and there's some health. Down below us we have the exit. Now I just have to find my way to it. Really, really hard to avoid damage there. Oh, we might have it. Not quite yet. Oh, I think this is good. I think the door that you fall down from is progress. Damn table. I think reflecting a comet into the table there actually would have worked, but couldn't quite pull that out. I should be a little more cautious about pants, too. Being cautious about your pants, just really a good way to live, in general. Such as always making sure you have them on when you leave the house, important stuff like that. Okay, I no longer have any confidence whatsoever that I'm heading on the right path. Burtness is good, though. Burtness helps us deal with furniture. And helps me cope with the fact that I think I just went back to the beginning of the level. Try going down here. Inflicting a little pants damage. Well, silver lining to doing a little bit of looping around in this level is that we have opportunities to get some health. Ugh. I suppose at this point there's really not a whole lot more to be said about progressing through the Haunted Mansion, so I am just going to fast forward it, I think, until I find my way out. Okay, lesson learned. Never ever ever assume that I will be able to find my way through anything without getting lost. I have been going around in circles for a ridiculous amount of time, and I have finally resorted to pulling up a map from the interblops, which I will try and follow now and hopefully finally make my way through. Okay, now if I understand this correctly, this will put me to the right of a wall. Nope, that's not where I thought it would go. Where the hell am I? Okay, so we've got two to the left, one under me. Fuck. This isn't easy to follow because everything looks so samey. I'll try and find something recognizable that I can work with. Okay, there's a drop-off here. There's a drop-off here. There's... Yes, there's a door under me. Ultimately, what I want to get to is... door X. I don't really know how to get to door X. I just hope to do it at this point without losing too much health. This should take me to door I, as listed on the map, I do believe, and we'll see where I takes me from that. Okay, door I puts me in one of these. This is going to be door L. Ah, careless. These are doors M and N. And will take me here. We want door O. Since we eventually want to reach door X, I guess proceeding through the letters is probably good. O will take us to... And this is O, Y, and P. Y goes to the boss. We don't want that. Now, P, we should have P, Q, and R, I think? No. Where am I? I'm lost is where I am. No, this is the boss. No, this is the boss. I don't want the boss fight. Okay. Yeah, that was door Y. Door Y goes to the boss. That's not what I want. This is door P. And that should lead me to P, Q, and R. Door R. Door R will give me access to T. And where does T go? God, this is complicated. Now, if I take the leftmost door here, that should be it. Oh, thank all that is holy. Well, that was just a hideous clusterfuck. Whoa, throwing us right into the shit here. Better take care of this before I try and move on. At least I got a little health back for it. Anywho. This is probably as good a place to leave off as any, although it didn't actually go out on a great note with that maze. But there is one thing here that's kind of funny. Yep, it's the Elephant Man. Oh, thanks, Elephant Man. That makes me feel a little better. Anyhow, that I think will suffice for this episode of Monster Party. That is the only maze in the game, so that bit of horror will not be repeating itself. I do beg your pardon for that very extended period of Lost Un, but then again, some of you seem to enjoy that, so I hope you had fun? Anyway, I do believe there's not a whole lot more of Monster Party left to go. We should be able to wrap things up next episode, and then we will begin our second loop, which will be through the Japanese proto of Parody World Monster Party. And we'll be able to see what's different and what is not. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to joining you again next episode. Till then, this is Un, signing off. Today's Dance Macabre has been brought to you by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, Dodecalope, Jarogue, Martin Schallenmakers, Mayo the Hedgefox, Hildegard Argelmach, IGV, Jazel, Joseph Hall, Dan Larson, K. Ivan Rupert, Tiny Shopkeeper, Charlie Dunst, Kikoskia, Kobo4231, Yuga Takeuchi Fan, Chaotic Narrative, Mystery Accent, Lakota, Meiyan Ling, Renaman, Fate Everywhere, Rio, TJA, longtime friend of the show moving up to the majors, Sparkaziah Lefzer. Welcome, and I hope I pronounced your name right. And other disoriented patrons. My thanks as ever. I'm still kinda recovering from moving and new bedroom expenses, and your generosity makes a tremendous difference. Subscribers, commenters, and all of viewerland, my thanks to you as well for your indispensable part in making this channel what it is. Cheers, everyone. Take care, be good, and I'll see you again real soon. Hello out there, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had a good time, and I've been glad to have you. If you enjoyed this video, new subscribers always brighten my day, and if you really dig my stuff and would like to support me on Patreon, I shall be very grateful indeed. You're also invited to go with the stream every Friday at twitch.tv/unplayedathing. Thank you again, and have a good one.